And we are back at the laserblast gun. I'm excited, I really am, because I found a company that'll actually sell you a gallon of polyurethane casting resin. Most of them won't do it. They'll sell you, a little quart kit, which is 2 16 ounces of A and B, or they'll sell you smaller than that, or they'll sell you a 2-gallon kit, but nowhere in between. And I'm trying to be thrifty on this project right now till some more things happen we're waiting on. So I just wanted to get a gallon. That's all I need to do to finish this gun up. And I found a company called SRC, and they're in Michigan. They sell this on Amazon, amazingly. And I got it like in 2 days, or maybe it was 3 days. And it was spoken very highly of by the people using it to make slot car bodies and other things. It's evidently very resilient, which is good. And it pours up quickly and sets off pretty fast. And it's ready to demold in 15 minutes, which is pretty quick. And it was only $60 for this gallon kit, which is really a good deal. Their card came in here, and evidently they have polyurethane casting resins, epoxy casting resins, silicone rubber, which I gotta check in, and mold making supplies. So I'm going to communicate with these people, because if this stuff is as good as they say, this could make it be a really great new source of stuff for all our modeling and creating needs. SCR, Specialty Resin and Chemical, and they're in Michigan. And their website is specialtyresin.com. You can't forget that one. So, specialtyresin.com. Let's try your product. We're going to pour up. We need, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. So we need to pour up 7 more. So here we go. It's just a 50-50 mix. As usual, I do not have a popsicle stick handy, so I'm going to go get one. I'm not prepared. These never come off that easy anyway. Never mix up your caps. Always put them back. Otherwise, you'll end up like George. So here we have, this is supposed to be shaken up once a day when in use. So I'm gonna just pour half of this, like that. It might be a little more than half. It pretty much looks like all the other resins. This stuff evidently comes out yellow, not as opposed to white like Alumilite, but and it's comparatively priced. It really is. Except Alumilite would not sell me a gallon. They'll only sell me a half gallon. I mean, a 2-gallon kit. Now I'm just sort of gonna eyeball this a little bit more of that. Well, that was pretty good guesstimation. Mix it up, and evidently they say you have to pour very quickly because this stuff goes off very fast, like in 2 minutes. And the clock is running right now. And we're gonna, what I like is it's really thin, and it's getting warm quick. So we are gonna need to mix up another one. And that's easy to do. We'll just mix up, and so it's going to take not quite that amount to do another batch. There's batch 2. I'm looking down in there, and it's still very liquidy. It's even though it got warm, it hasn't gone off yet. So the working time with this is not quite as paranoid as I've heard discussed on the internet. Now that it's up the top, I'll really be able to tell. I did make a little too much. I wish I had another mold to pour this in, but I don't. So I poured the remainder into this mold right here, which is a spherical mold that could come in handy. You can watch it now, Mary. Watch it. It's going off. You can see how fast it's going. Typical, polyurethane resin. but I have really good feelings about it. And it took longer than 2 minutes to go off. And if you look over here, you see it's starting to go off in here. So in 15 minutes, we'll come back and demold this. It's now 20 minutes after 2, so that'd be 25 to, I really want to test this stuff thoroughly. So at 25 to 3, we will demold this part, and then I'm going to pour up another one. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing today, is just pouring parts. You can see this is pretty well set up all the way. And the other thing I want to show you after the andum is this. I got this off eBay, and I don't know how many you realize, but I actually used diffraction grating just like this on the original gun. It was up under here, and I noticed it in some of the pictures. You could just barely see it under there, but it's something that was part of the laserblast experience. And it was difficult to locate this stuff because they wanted tons of money for it. And this is just like the stuff I had back in the 70s. And I found this company, and they sold me this for like $6.95. And it's got a adhesive back on it, and it is identical to what I used back then, which is really cool. So I have ordered a bunch of parts which did not show up today. They'll probably be waiting for me when I get home. All kinds of the little balls and stuff that go on here that eventually will get lights on them and that kind of thing. So a lot of parts like this, these are too big, that will go here. What I kind of want to do today is take this apart like so and clean up this eyesore here and primer it. So I'm going to do that here, and when we come back, we'll take a look at how much better this looks as an actually cleaned up part. One of the reasons I like having our studio where we have it is we're right off of Camarillo Airport, and the B-25, a B-25 from World War II bomber in lovely sea in blue-gray, just flew right over us. I ran outside. Wonderful. Anyway, you have to be into aviation to know what I mean. Some of you are. We're going to open this up. It's been the 15 minutes, and here's what I poured into that mold, and it is very strong, very, very strong, without any reinforcement in it. So we're going to pop this out of here. He says, "Come on, come out, come out, come out, come out, come out." And you got all these fins, and you know, I actually think it'll be easier with the gloves off, because it's hard to feel what I'm dealing with here. That's better. I forgot what I did last time to get this out, but I did get it out. And you can see that as I pull those out, it should start getting easier to force it out of there. And of course it's hot, and this is like really, really hard to do. There we go. So to keep working it. Wish I knew Japanese right now. The B-25 is coming back. So these are, the hardest part of this is getting these out of the mold. And you can see it is coming out, and the stuff is very, very strong. There we go. See, no editing. You get to see the struggle, the throwing, the cussing, and all that kind of good stuff. And it's getting there. Now, you see why we charge the big bucks for what we do. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so nice. Of course, I have to get rid of this stuff, but that's really, I mean, this stuff, which was the BJB stuff, and it was old, so to be fair, it had its problems. But look at the difference. You can see there's lots of warping in this. This is perfectly linear and straight. It's absolutely wonderful. And I was able to demold this exactly in the time they said I would be able to. So what they claim about their product is absolutely true. I will definitely be going back to them to get more of this. It's now lunch, and I can't wait to have some of this. See you after lunch.
So here we are.
Here we are. I got to backtrack a little bit here. You remember I didn't want to remove the glass from this because I'm afraid that it would break, well, the screen. Well, as it turned out, I needed to. And of course I broke it. Nothing would do that I didn't break it. It was from 1977, and it just cracked. But I glued it back together, put some tape behind it, and then I poured it, put some resin on the mold release on the inside of it, and filled it with resin. And so I just did a little bit so it wouldn't get too hot, and it would just capture the shape. Then I built a clay wall around it, and you can see what's in there. I'm gonna mix up this, pour it in there, and make this thicker so I can actually put it on the Mattel vacuform, which then I'll be able to make as many clear screens as I need for the old tricorder. So we're gonna just pour that in there. And while that sets up, I'm gonna show you how, without having aluminum or tools to cut aluminum and smooth it and shape it, how to make an aluminum faceplate. I got a little scrap piece here of styrene. I'm gonna put this on it like this, and of course it's facing down. And I'm just going to, I'm probably not gonna cut out the holes because I can see whoever did these and made these, the holes are not that even. Either that or my eyesight isn't. I'm gonna mark around it, and of course nothing would do that didn't move. And the pencil's a bit more precise than using a Sharpie. And I'm gonna mark this location here. And I'm gonna mark these. Even though this one here is off, I will make it straight later. I'm going to mark off the actual screen itself. I know you're all wondering what the heck and how the heck am I going to make. You can see it shows up really rather well. So how am I going to make that look like metal? Well, we're gonna do that. First thing I'm going to do is find a straight edge, any kind of straight edge. This looks pretty straight, and I'm going to cut this. This is that little screen. Hua Chang was amazing. I mean, the things he did. Projects Unlimited, Jim Danforth, Hua Chang. If you know your history, you know the names I'm talking about. So I've decided to use the Dremel tool after all, since it's being so obstinate. It's always the way I figured I'd have this done in a few seconds and really show you something. Where I've got some leverage and brake. There we go. The same thing here. See here, it's weak. And if you do this, you can distort the plastic if you're not careful. Okay, so finally I got that. Now I need to get this piece out and drill the other holes. Okay, so that's pretty good. I got one thing left I want to do, and that is those holes. You know, what amazes me about Dremel tools, they used to have a tool that you would turn to tighten this stuff, and they kind of expect you to just tighten this thing down with your hand and have it hold these things in place. Well, it really doesn't work that way. Up being crooked. That's two that are straight. You have to kind of go slow because you don't want to melt the plastic too much. There we go. Oh, those two are straight. Now let's get the third one straight, which was off at the factory. So I was going to kind of... I did it. They're straight. Straighter than the original. Yeah, just as I thought. The rounded edges are not equal. If you ever look at the pictures in the making of Star Trek, or even online, there are people who have some original tricorder stuff, you can see how uneven they are. I mean, you know, television back those days, correct me if I'm wrong, was 640 by 480, you know, and today we're at the worst, we're at 2K, which is 1920 by 1080p. You need lots of sweat. That's part of the whole brawn, you know. Oh, it looks pretty good. But I know you're dying to see. So here we go. Yes, I'm looking in the tape box. And we're going to, I want the cleanest piece, the flattest piece I can get. So I'm going to tear that off like that. This is aluminum duct tape, and you can get this at Lowe's, Home Depot, or just about anywhere else. This is actual aluminum with a sticky back on it. Now this stuff is tenacious, it sticks so well. And if it's wrinkly like this, it can be a problem, but you can kind of rub it out. Now there was a piece of junk under there, and you see what that did. Now, if you do a cleaner job than I did, then you won't have the wrinkles up here, but I'm trying to just get this on camera so you will learn something. You can take your fingernail and go like that over the wrinkles, but the idea is to get it to lay down really perfect in the first place. You see how that just popped out. And of course, this has to be shaped better. And you see there's little indentations in there and that kind of thing, so this piece has to be better sanded. I'd probably been better off to have used it from the other side, but you'll get the idea. So I made another one, and of course this is the original, and this is the replica. And I over sanded it. It could have looked a little bit more metallic-like, but really, I mean, if I didn't show you this, that certainly looks like metal. So you wouldn't know if I didn't tell you that that wasn't a piece of cut metal. Really, you wouldn't. So that really turned out well. And then I pulled our little plug here that I made off the original. And you can just see the indentation here for where it's supposed to fit into here, which it does rather well. So I will be able to vacuum form those now, and on the Mattel vacuum form, and they'll fit right into there. So we're making good progress here. I did some sanding on these. I did a curve like that. And this is something I wasn't able to do back in the 70s, the mid 70s. So this actually contours and fits and will attach much easier. I'm going to drive a bolt through there to our base. Now, in the picture, it looks to me like these are a little bit lower profile. So I probably will be flat sanding them from underneath a little bit and dropping them down. But other than that, they really look like the original. I can see there should have been a little bit more of a gap in here, but I mean, overall, it really looks like the part, especially if you come around this side and just look at the whole length of the gun. You can see those are going to work out great. And it's hard to tell looking at it how many of them are actually there. I know there's this plastic piece which came from a model kit, and I don't know what it was. I'm going to have to make these little boxes up. They go in between, and that is what kind of spaces them out further. So I believe there's 4 of them, and there's like a gap like this, and those boxes go between. So there'll be one more right about here, and then one box goes here. This one goes right up to there, roughly, box, and then this one will go here and a box over there. So that's kind of where we're at right now with the heat sinks. So I think it's coming along really well. I cut this off, of course, flush, so it's sitting there right for as much as you see of it. You don't see a lot of it because of what's on here. So I think it's going really well. We did a lot of work on this this week, so we will see more pretty soon.